Hello everyone, welcome back to Coding Everyday. In the last video we were discussing about the view. So to learn more about the different components of React Native, I'll be changing my approach and we will be quickly building some pages, let's say pages of e-commerce website, and while building the application we will learn more about the components, and then slowly we will move toward the other things like router and all or Redux required in any React application or a React Native application. So before that, I want to discuss about a small topic called StyleSheet, right? So let me clear this window so we don't need this anymore. Okay, so I'll just clear this out. I'll remove the status bar and yeah. So initially when you create the application, right? So you must be seeing this const style is equal to stylesheet.create. Now what is this style sheet? So the style sheet, it's an abstract of CSS only. So in web development we have class names, and within the class names we add the properties like how our element should look, what should be the color, design, layout, where it should be placed and all. But in React Native we don't have CSS. Instead of CSS we have style, right? So to give a styling to an element we have StyleSheet, right? So inside StyleSheet you can have, it's basically you can say it's an function that has objects, okay, and in that objects we can specify the look and feel of our elements, basically the look of the elements, right? So whenever you create an expo project, here is a basic style sheet that you get, right? So we can mention the style here as well. For example, I can within curly braces create another object, and here you can write let's say background color and place it as green, not double green. Take it as red. Alright, the reason it's not working is because we have removed this style sheet, right? The container style sheet. But now we don't know where it is. Okay, so let's give it a border. Let's say border width of 5 and border color red, within quote red. We'll wait for it to refresh. See, our view is at this place, okay? So we can give it a height here. Let's say height is 200. We can do like this, but since we will be having multiple components, multiple elements, multiple views, buttons, and what else? So if we integrate our style within this view or within our element, it won't be a good idea, right? It will increase our maintenance, it will give rise to a lot of defect, and it will reduce the reusability of styling as well. So what we can do is we can just cut this, or let's say cut this and paste it here. Okay, now we have errors, so we will type styles dot container. So this way you can access your style. Okay, it's the same that we had previously. Now, so we have different properties. You can Google out on your own, as well as while creating UI we will be using different styles. So we have multiple styles. We have border, we have height, we have width, we have padding, margin and all. So in this video we will be discussing about Flexbox. Okay, so Flex we will be using most of the time, like all the time. Whenever we will be creating a layout we will be using Flex. That makes our work easy. So let's start with that. So I'll just go for a basic. So we have some, so okay, before starting that I want you to know that we have multiple type of devices. Some devices are 5-inch, the display of device is 5-inch, some are 6-inch, maybe some devices are small. So we cannot always provide the absolute values to our element. Like I cannot keep the height to 500. Maybe the height 500 for this device will be a full screen, but for a larger device it will leave some space at the bottom, so that will not look good, right? Similarly, if you go to a smaller device, then the box will not be completely fit into the device. So that's the reason we need our UI to be responsive. We need our app to be responsive for different devices. So to save this, Flex comes into the picture, right? So Flex, you can imagine it as a flexible, okay, Flex. So let's say we have this container, right? And I want this container to take the full page height. So I can simply, we will keep this one. I'll just remove the height from here, and you can write it as Flex1. Okay, see, for Flex1, it takes all the available space inside my device. So what Flex1 specifies is that higher the value, higher the space will be taken by the element, right? To understand it better, what we will do is we will create two views inside it. Okay, we'll write view, and I'll just copy it and paste it. Okay, so we'll create two styles. View 1 with a background color of green, and we will have a view 2 with a background color of let's say blue. Okay, and in our view we need to provide the style is equal to styles dot view 1. Similarly, we just copy it and paste it here, and for view 2 we will keep it as view 1. Now just save our app. Okay, so I removed the Flex1 from here, right? So Flex1 here. Okay, so again you see we don't see the elements here, right? So let's say I put it as Flex1. Okay, and I'll give this as Flex2. So you see, right, the Flex1 container occupies one part of the space, the page or the screen, and Flex2 takes most of the part, right? So the higher the number, the higher space it will occupy, right? So if you have only one parent element like this one, it doesn't have any siblings, right? So it will take whole space, right? And in case of these two view, since they have sibling with different flex, so let's say I keep both Flex1 and 1, right? So it will take equal spaces. Okay, and if I provide it as Flex5, it will divide my screen into 6 parts, and 5 parts will be taken by my view 1 and 1 part is taken by view 2. So that's a basic of the attribute Flex. Okay, so now we will just remove it, and we'll just give a height and width. Okay, so we will add box props. Okay, or let's say I'll name it as square. Okay, square. Height will be 200 and width will be 200. All right. Now if I want to add multiple styles here, what I can do is I can just insert an array here. So I have view 1, then next I'll write styles dot square, and similarly I'll write here as well dot square. Save it, and we have 2 square. It looks a bit bigger. Let's reduce this one. and we will add another view here, and we will add a view 3. And background color will be, let's say, yellow, and this will be view 3. Alright, so we have 3 boxes here. Now in all the devices and screen we have an axis, right? We have vertical axis, we have horizontal axis. In web or in desktop application or web pages, the main axis is the horizontal axis, but in mobile application the main axis is the vertical axis, right? So now if we let's say I have a challenge for you and I want to place all this div at the center of the screen. Now how will you do that? You can add some blank spaces there, you can add margin, right? Like I can mention margin top to be 50. Yeah, I can do that. I can add a margin left as well, and I can move it around, right? But this is not the right property, right? So according to device it will change. So using Flexbox we can easily move this to center. How we can do that? So for our parents, or in our parents, we will write justify content center. See what happens. You see, it moved to the center vertically. In web we have horizontal, but here we have vertical, right? And if I write align items to center, the boxes are in center, right? So this is justify content and align items. So we have different properties here. You can click here and click on control space. So we have multiple properties like justify content flex end. So it will put the element to the end, right? Similarly we have space around. So it will evenly space the elements in our screen. Similarly we have space between, right? So this is a different layout, and we have space evenly. Okay, so that adds even space to each of the element. Similarly in align items as well, we have flex end, right? Flex start will put it to the front, and stretch will put it here only. So in case in specific cases, if we want to fill it, we can use stretch. Okay, so now what we see is justify content is placing it vertically and align item is moving around horizontally, right? But if I want that this blue should be next to green and this yellow should be next to blue, then we have something called as flex direction. Okay, and in flex direction we have column and rows. So if I put column, nothing will happen, right? Because the default position is the column. Now I add row. You see, the elements are aligned in row wise. Now the thing is, whenever I write flex direction as row, now my main axis is the horizontal one. Okay, so now if I put it, let's say I will just comment it out. What happened? Just comment. Okay, I'll write it as center. Now it is aligning the item horizontally, right? In flex direction column it was vertical, now it's horizontal. Similarly, if I write it as align items, right, and we'll write as center, it will align it in vertical direction. Okay, and we can similarly use space between, space around and all. So this is the basic of Flexbox. You can play around with it, right? So we can check for Flexbox cheat. So this is basically for web, but similarly we can use for React Native as well. So we do not have display flex here. Okay, we have flex wrap. Okay, so flex wrap, let me explain what is flex wrap. So let's say we have multiple elements here. Okay, we have 6 elements. Now you see, after green we don't have anything, it's out of the screen. Okay, so if I write here flex wrap, so it's currently not visible because the elements are of same color, but let me change this one and you can see the boxes are wrapped, right? So if there is no space, it comes down to the next line. So this is flex wrap. Similarly, we have flex string. We have different types of flex properties. Okay, we have column wrap, then we have align items, we discussed about that, align content, we have something called gap, row gap, column gap. So as and when we will move into developing our apps, we will use different properties as per our need, and that is the way we will learn about it. So you can go through it. So we have something called as align self and justify self as well, that is applied to the child. Alright, so that's all about the flex. Alright, so that's all about the flex. So this was the basics of flex. If we go into much detail, it will take a longer time, and we won't probably remember all of the things. So what we can do is, while building our app, we will go through different properties, and you will experiment it yourself and you will learn through it. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in next video. Till then, subscribe to this channel, press the bell icon, and I'll see you in the next one.